All right, we are live, and dang, I got a barn burner for you. Start with the Lord's Prayer. We'll go from there. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Deliver us not. Sorry, I got a little bit sidetracked. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. For what it's worth, I always mean it when I do it. It's always kind of in my heart. All right, guys, we have an exciting event. I'm not going to be like in the dark like this, little mysterious today. I'm bringing you Mr. Duplicatable today. I'm so excited. I've got stars on. But I wanted to really, today in particular, I know I go on and on about how there is money flying around literally all over the place. If you get around me, you'll hear it. But today I wanted to begin this event, with this view, the view of, whatever it is, Los Angeles and Santa Monica and Beverly Hills right there. That club wouldn't let apparently the Kardashians in, and so Santa Monica's out there and all that stuff. Okay, so but here's the thing is there, and Encino's in the other direction, and blah blah blah. But there's money flying around all over the place, and today it's going to be distinct in a very different way. It's going to be visceral, I believe, in a very different way based on this interview. What we're doing today, we're calling this the harnessing free traffic for Shopify and really all of e-commerce. And this is a live on-air interview with the guy who we call Mr. Duplicatable, Stephen Floyd. And we're going to get into why today it's just particular, because e-commerce has changed forever. It has literally changed. It wasn't that it was always the same. You're going to find out why. And we're going to get into the heart of things. I prepared a shocking amount for this event. I'm going to get into that and let that kind of unfurl. But I'm so excited to bring this to you. So what I'm going to do right now, just so I'm not completely in the dark, I'm going to turn around. But remember the background. Remember money flying around all over the place out there, and all the way up in Utah out there, and in Arkansas and Kansas and everywhere all over America, in the Netherlands, in the UK. It is flying around all over the place. So Stephen Floyd, welcome. I'm so glad you've joined forces with us for this event. When I told people that this has been a shockwave, and I do mean a shockwave. Today the internet is blowing up. Emails are flying all over the place, and they're opening, and people are freaking out about this, and it's like a last second notice. I'm almost worried what would happen if we'd given people too much notice based on this excitement here. But Stephen, the core thing I want people to get out of this is this 10 out of 10, 20 out of 20, 50 out of 50 success that you have had with e-commerce, and how you just win and win and win just ruthlessly. People are like begging you, Stephen, please, would you just lose one? Could we do a little bit of losing? We're just kind of like getting a little worn out about this. Too much dollars flying in. So this is going to be an exciting event, because we are opening up free traffic for Shopify, and Shopify opens up the whole world. And really this is about e-commerce as a whole. So ladies and gentlemen, former Army Ranger, Stephen, Mr. Duplicatable Floyd, welcome. We're so excited to have you here today.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that warm introduction. It's funny as I was sitting there watching your beautiful background there, it occurred to me, in business, it used to always be about location. The wonderful thing about internet marketing or digital marketing is the locations wherever you want to be, baby. Yeah. At the beach with a laptop, or, you can be up in the Swiss Alps, right? Wherever you want to be, as long as you got an internet connection.
What we're getting into today, especially with e-commerce, you're just, it's crazy, because you're just not dealing with these other factors, with these wipeout factors. Whether you've got your own slice of the pie. So we're going to get into that. But what I'm going to do is just take a quick moment and just get on the other side of this computer so people can see my face, and that'll be good. So just 10 seconds here.
It's one hell of a view.
All right, let's rotate this thing around, and now I'm staring off into the sun. So let's get some sunglasses so I don't get wiped out by this. All right, Stephen. Here's what I want to start with, and me and David Mills really prepared hardcore for this event. I want to kind of start in the middle of the action to give people a very real sense, not a 10,000 foot level, but a 5 foot level, like a real world, like boots on the ground level. The first of these e-commerce stores that you took on. Now you're highly technical, and we'll kind of explain that. You're not the norm. But the first e-commerce store that you built, and this is going to bear on Shopify. It wasn't on the Shopify platform, but for the purposes of what we're talking about, that's not really relevant today. Although we are going to talk about how Shopify has opened up the world. But I want to start like a James Bond movie, right in the middle of the action. Tell us about why you built your first of these Shopify WooCommerce style stores. What is it that led to that? And that's how I want to start. And we'll loop around to winning.
Sure, and I'll try to make a really long story, not super really long. So if you go back in a time machine, back to 2003, back when I started first doing search engine marketing, I did that. I was very successful with that. That's a whole other story. Then in 2007, a good friend of mine came to me, and he had one revenue stream, and it was an e-commerce site that he had. And he just started losing traffic, and just it was problem after problem. And, this was literally like, he was going to have to file bankruptcy, lose his house, all that. So he knew that I did search engine marketing. He knew that I was successful at it. So he said, hey, can you come in? Can you, help me with this? Well, at the time I wasn't sure. And I told him, I said, listen, I don't really do e-commerce. I do, more like national company ranking and local company rankings, it's very different. I think, let me try. So I spent a couple of months and I bought every course that was available on e-commerce and joined every group that was online about e-commerce, especially the more reputable groups like some of the Google, product groups and forum groups. And what I found out after, 2.5, 3 months was that e-commerce was not significantly different from what I was already doing with quote, regular SEO, right? Or quote, local. And so it took us a couple of months to get things back on track for him. And, we actually did some paid traffic in there as a bridge, so he didn't lose everything. But about 2 months in, he wasn't where he was before. He was actually ahead of where he had ever been before. With sales and with traffic. And so, I helped him with this. And like I said, this is one of my dearest, oldest friends. This is, totally a personal relationship, right? Not a business relationship. It could have been my brother. I mean, for real. And so, but that got me thinking, and I thought, well, if I can do it for him, right, I can probably do it for me. And so, I started my very first store. And this was actually a partnership with another good friend of mine. I probably wouldn't say this if we had names here. I wouldn't want to embarrass anybody or anything. But this particular, again, good friend of mine, he wasn't doing too well financially. He was stuck in a dead end 9-to-5 job, and he just wasn't he wasn't able to provide for his family like he wanted to be. And so he had a hobby, and I can't go into the niche, but he had a hobby that's still alive. He had a hobby that he was really into. And, I just thought, I wonder if, and so we started this e-commerce site, and, we picked some products in there, and, it took us about 6 months, I think, to get things really going, kind of just a little bit slow. And this is my first one. Won't take 6 months now. This is the first one. But after about 6 months, he was able to replace his income. And that store now, it's actually the one I'm going to show you screenshots of at some point later. I'll actually show you how it's doing. But he more than, let me think, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think he at least tripled or quadrupled his income, something like that. And so a business model for me was born, and I have done that now. I have a total of 4 stores that I have done that exact same thing with. And I've had some others that we've sold. So I only have 4 currently that, like what we're talking about. But I've done.
How many have you sold?
I think we've sold.
Just so you guys know, like you peel back the layers with Stephen Floyd, and you're like, what? You did what? And are you and that too? This is just get ready for this stuff. All right. So I'm sorry, Stephen. I asked you a question and I cut you off.
Yeah. Well,
how many stores have you sold?
I think that we've sold 7 actual stores, but that's but a couple of those were like joint effort there. So it was 2 stores that went as one sale twice, so that's 4. So yeah, so 7 stores, but 2 of them were sold as packages, and then the other 3 were sold by themselves.
Okay, so wait, let's keep the tally for people, and there's a reason. This is not to brag, guys. This is not to brag.
It's not. There's people that sold thousands.
All right. Well, no, it's not even that. Okay. No, this is a huge deal. Hell yeah, this is a huge deal. I mean, if there's bragging going on, it's because this is life-changing material, and we're going. I've actually managed to secure a silver bullet lesson from Stephen because I think it's reasonable. I think you come on something like this and right, you want to have a golden takeaway. But Stephen, I'm trying to keep track of this. So we start. Here's the timeline. You're in 2003. You start with the Google stuff, right? 2007, friends in dire straits. You come in, bail them out, and I'm going to point to some details about that. Then you start doing it for yourself. You build not just the 4 current sites that you have up and running that are autopilot-ish. It's not complete
pretty much
the autopilot-ish money.
Yeah, pretty much.
But then there's 7 others. So you yourself, and we know they're successful because not only did you build them, not only did they make money, but they were so successful you were able to sell them. So that's for you yourself. That's 4 plus 7 is 11, and plus your friend store, the first one. That's your first diamond dozen, I could call it.
Yeah.
And then on top of that. But wait, there's more. We'll get into this because you get a basis, and there's a whole world open to you in consulting. I mean, it's just explosive what's possible in consulting. So here's what I want to wrap my head around. I sent on email dispatch. Obviously, it hit because we had a lot of people. I didn't expect this early in the day. We normally evening webinars and such, but it's controversy. I mean, it's like a good kind of controversy for once, right? That because conventional wisdom says, but about e-commerce, like it's sexy, but you got to deal with inventory. It's sexy, but you got to deal with the tech of it. But overwhelmingly, the real but with e-commerce has always been the traffic. Some guy who I've heard of once said that he who controls traffic controls money, right? Well, that's not just for clients. That's not just for affiliate, right? That's absolutely positive. I mean, why was Hurricane Liz such a shockwave instead of OMG? So Stephen, I want to get into some things that are actionable for people. And I think that the most actionable thing is you have this heart of a winner, and in a way where it really matters and it really applies. And what I want to do is go back to your roots, to the very beginning. Back in 2003, you got your start. You just talked about how you armed yourself once you took on your friend and you're trying to help your friend, your first initial friend, that first initial store where you're, bailing your buddy out and throwing out a life preserver or whatever, that you went out and you just bought everything and immersed yourself and got, involved. But that's not the first time that you have armed yourself and educated yourself, built, right? We say build or beg. You built and built and built knowledge, this specialized, specified, invaluable knowledge before you got into e-commerce. And the thing that got you so quickly into e-commerce is you built a basis for yourself with Google SEO. What was your out-of-pocket expense? What was your time invested into that? Was that something that just fish to water and you walked in and all of a sudden whatever you typed worked. And you hear stories, maybe there is something like that. Give people a sense of your skin in the game to get started back in 2003.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I'll try to make a really long story, not quite so long. At the time, I was working doing technical support, computer stuff, right? Information technology stuff. And a friend of mine started his own company. And anyone from America will know when I say Geek Squad, right? Geek Squad, they come to your house and they fix your computer. They come to your business, fix your computer. Well, that was this business model. So we had a company called Gurus2Go. .com. It's still up. There's other owners now. I'll get to that. But we started the site, and of course there was no traffic, right? There was no traffic coming to it, so we weren't making any money. So very similar to what I mentioned I did for e-commerce, I did the same thing just for regular SEO. I went out and I joined every group and bought every course, and just consumed search engine marketing. I became obsessed with it, and I would say that it's very fair to say that we spent probably $100,000 or more on my R&D. I'd say that's very, very fair. Maybe slightly over 100 grand on what we spent over about a 3-month period. And I'm talking, some of those things I went to like in-person masterminds, right? Top secret, non-disclosure agreements, you got to sign. But what happened was, is that I feel blessed, and I'm using that word very intentionally. I feel like I was blessed to be able to take the volumes of information that was available and to be able to kind of see, kind of which pieces of information, I thought were going to work. And I'll tell you, a lot of my choice in that came from the people that were giving me the information. So it wasn't really that I looked at the information and said, I just think this is better than that. But the people that were providing it, they seemed like quality people to me. They seemed like, the kind of people that I could put my time and energy into. I always do that. I always choose people over products. So we were able to, it took us about 6 months to get there. But we were able to get number one globally.
Wait a second before we get to
this.
Yeah. Too big of a reveal. You blew past too much. And this, guys, you got to understand, sometimes, Mr. Duplicatable, I've never said these words, okay, in internet marketing history, in my history, you have $30 million, with OMG collected, how God knows, the top 3 OMGers have made more than $30 million so far as I know. And then you got 1,000 more and whatever I've done in sales before that. And I've never said the phrase Mr. Duplicatable, but duplicability, that's, in a sense, at the heart of the internet is the ability to quickly replicate moves that in the real world might be difficult. And really in the whole history of the world, the only damn thing that's ever worked in terms of teaching people to make money is apprenticeship anyways. I don't really, well, and I think that Steven's kind of touching on that. That's not really the direction I want to go, although that's, I think, a gold nugget. But let's just stop. You're in front of a guy in this interview you just found out who all the way back in 2003, in the course of 3 months, you said 3 months, Steven?
Yeah, but
you blew through 33. This is like the Ty Lopez of SEO investment. $33,000, because Ty famously pays for coaching and dopeness and stuff like that, which is dope. It's one of the things that really distinguishes him. But you invested. What were your partners, your family saying when you're on this spending binge? You're just, what are you doing? Like going to the bank, getting like bundles of $5,000 and $10,000 thrown at this guy, that guy, the other guy. What was going on?
Actually at that point I was very blessed because my partner, really, he was the money guy and I was the, delivery guy, right? He didn't know anything about computers or anything, right? He just was like, hey, this sounds like a good business model. So luckily he trusted me and had faith in what I was doing. And I don't know if you said 33,000. I said over 100,000 is what we spent.
Well, that's what I was saying. In 3 months,
yeah.
$33,000
a month. Yeah,
that's wild. So you're spending for like 100 days straight. You were spending at least $1,000 per day out of pocket. Why would you think you would win? I know you did, right? Yeah. And I know the dominoes fell and fell and fell. A dozen out of a dozen, your first dozen. And then wait till you guys find out about the consulting angle on this. What on earth possessed you for this enormous cash outlay? Obviously, this guy's a great asset to you. I mean, you went all in on this, and then you went all in again and again and again. How? I mean, like, I'm imagining a poker player, and they like look at their hand. It's like the opening hand. They look at their whole cards, like, okay, all in. And everyone at the table's like, all right. You know, somebody calls and it's like, oh, he had aces. You're like, okay, I got it. Next hand, poker player's like, looks at it, he's like, okay, all in. You know, everyone else at the table's like, okay, couldn't happen again, right? He's bullying us, right? Boom, another one bites the dust. Steven checks his whole cards again, all in. But he does it like again and again and again and succeeds. What was, going back to the first time you went all in on free traffic, on SEO, why? I mean, it's crazy, even though it worked.
I hope this doesn't come across the wrong way. I'm going to give you an honest answer, and I hope it doesn't paint me in a bad picture. I'm used to winning. You know, my whole life I've been winning. You know, I started with wrestling when I was a kid, just like you. You know, high school wrestling team, state champions 4 years in a row. Joined the Army, joined special operations, winning. We, you know, defeat is not a choice, right? Losing is not an option. You know, and I'll tell you, and I still see it this way today, Mike. I still see Google, you know, when you're in the military and you're in a special operations unit, one of the things that you learn is that a very small group of well-trained and well-equipped people are very, very able to not only take on, but defeat consistently a huge machine, because they have the choice to choose their battles and apply their force. And so that's how I
Goes
saw
back to George Washington, right?
It's exactly.
Goes back to George Washington, good old George.
Google, you know, Google has to be everything all the time. You know, Google is this, you know, huge machine, and it's got all these moving parts.
Google is fighting. Here's guys. Google is fighting this massive takeaway. Okay, every keyword is an anti-spam battle for Google by necessity, right? Like that's their marketed jobs is being, in a sense, the garbage cleaners of the internet, because it's their recommendations. You know, if you have a friend and they tell you, oh my gosh, such and such movie is so great, and you go and it stinks, and then the next one stinks, and the next one stinks, you ain't gonna listen to that guy anymore, Steven.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'll tell you, just so many of those theories, you know, and here's something else you don't know about me. When I was in the service, I actually had, for lack of a better term, bodyguard training by the Secret Service. I was part of a protective detail, and I won't go into all that. But it was funny because when I asked them, you know, why I got picked, because this detail was me and a bunch of guys who were like giants. You know, they were big gorilla, you know, just mean, tough, you know, 6 foot plus, you know, big guys. And I was about 160, 5'9". And the Secret Service guy that picked me told me that I fit in anywhere. He said, you're 5'9", you're 160, you got, you know, nondescript brown hair, like you blend. You know, you don't stand out anywhere. You can stand right in the middle and people will scan and no one will ever notice you. And that's exactly what we do with Google. It's the exact same theory behind everything that I do, you know, with my sites. You know, my sites are hiding in plain sight. They're right there, right there with the quote, good sites. And as long as I'm able to keep that up, then there's no way that Google's ever going to be able to defeat what we're doing. And really the art of OMG SEO, you know, whether it's e-com or not.
So we've just had, I believe, a major reveal. I like, not even from Greg Morrison, not even from Cotton. I've never heard SEO described this way. Okay, we still have a silver bullet lesson to come somehow after, you know, what just got revealed to you. But let me put this in plain terms. So, word's not always the best example, but like the whole idea behind the, you know, American Revolution. From England, was that England was fighting, you know, they had to deal with all their colonies and, you know, and they're dispersed and blah, blah, blah. And all George Washington had to do was like run around in the woods and pick off troops where he wanted. He wasn't willing George Washington wasn't willing to march in a straight line, scream, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming. Well, he tried that once, okay? And basically found out that he was not going to go toe to toe. With Google, Google is every major keyword, every minor, like Google's fighting a trillion front war. And yet it's such a vast marketplace. It's $65 billion that were spent on SEO for companies alone in 2016. Another, 65 billion plus, probably right in that ballpark or more, spent on pay-per-click advertising on Google alone. And this is, I'm not even getting to the rest of the global marketplace, right? But just that's $130 billion in ad spend. Okay, if advertisers are spending $130 billion in a marketplace, then there's more than 130 billion. It's not like 130 billion and $1 in sales going on. But even if it was, it would still be $130 billion marketplace. So these keywords are so vast and so important. And then, Stephen, here comes Shopify. And what's that about? Like, why is Shopify a big deal?
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, again, coming at this from being in the game for a long time, Shopify's predecessors, and they're still here. There's Valuation, there's BigCommerce, and I've had stores on all those platforms before. And I'll tell you, Shopify had like the silver bullet. I don't know any other way to say it. I don't know if it was their capital. I don't know if it was their leadership was just ahead of the curve. But, I looked at Shopify, way back when it first started, and I looked at it and I said, this is 6 of one, half dozen the other, right? All these places are the same. Holy crap. Boy, I tell you what, the last 18 months, they completely changed the game. This is honestly, if you look at like who's number one and then who's number two, I'm not even sure who number two is. That's how bad they're spanking their competition. I'd have to guess at who number two would be, because Shopify is just, they're the Coca-Cola right now of e-commerce. They just really are.
With no Pepsi. So let's put it in human terms. Let's say I'm somebody who wants to get started online. Maybe I did a bit of eBay or maybe I didn't. But like, let's leave the level of experience as something like that. Maybe I've done a couple auctions, maybe I haven't. And now why would Shopify make such a big difference to me in terms of human terms? Let's say I've already made the decision. Just let's assume I've made the decision to jump in on this, this burgeoning gold mine with e-commerce on the internet, where you can control your own site. What is it about Shopify that makes such a difference versus all these other options that are out there? There's WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Valuation, all this stuff out there. You can even do it in WordPress and do plugins and this and that. You can build your own solution. Why does Shopify make such a big difference for me if I'm just getting started?
The key word there, Mike, is easy. The key word for Shopify is just easy. I'll tell you. And I won't take too long explaining this part, because I don't want you guys to get bored. But the e-commerce sites that I put up on WordPress with WooCommerce as the shopping cart, those cost me typically $5,000 to $7,000 each store to get it up, and typically 6 to 8 weeks to get them live. And that's no bullshit. That's real numbers. And let me tell you, just as an example of why. So, if I'm gonna have my own e-commerce site, right, on my own domain, my own hosting, right, then if I want to do credit cards, as an example, I have to do what's called PCI compliance, which I'm not even going to go into what that is, because you'd want to shoot somebody if you had to go through it yourself. It's a pain in the ass. But what it is, basically, think about like all the things that a bank has to do to like keep your money safe and your credit card information safe. You basically have to prove to these governing bodies that you're doing the same thing on your own website. So you will spend days reading, all this boring stuff. You have to do all these steps, not to mention 9/11 inspection. Don't even get me started on that. So after 9/11, they were worried about terrorists using e-commerce stores to like launder money. So now if you want to have a self-hosted e-commerce store, you have to have a 9/11 inspection, which means that they basically, you know, spend a week going through your site, and you got to pay for all of this. So let me contrast that to Shopify. So, you know, if say April 1st, I want to set up a store, you know, the way, you know, a WooCommerce type solution, right? Then April 1st, May, June, I probably have it up June 1st. Again, I'd be $5 to $7 grand into this thing and a ton of work. Okay. I'm going to contrast it with Shopify. And let's assume that we already had our products ready, right? We already had pictures and we had SKUs, right? Which is not hard to do. If it's April 1st at 8 a.m., I could have my store up by 10 a.m. on April 1st. So for a total
and you're talking about a nice store. You're not just like talking about some piece of crap.
Yeah. You know, the great thing about e-commerce is that, you know, from a user experience, which is very important to everybody, you know, Google, it's important too, right? Google's want to have people to have a good user. In other words, and what I mean by user experience is, you know, when you go to, let's say, Amazon.com or you go to Walmart.com, I could take the logos and the banners away, right? I could remove everything on there that says Walmart or that says Amazon. And guess what? Everyone watching this video or this live stream would be able to navigate the site. They'd know how to look for what they want to find, right? Because the user experience is something that is consistent with, you know, other, you know, store, you know, e-commerce stores where they buy products, right? So even if I was Amazon with no labels, I'd know, okay, if I'm looking for a watch, I'd go to the search and I'd type in watch, right? Or I'd go to men's / you know, accessories, right? Or / clothing / watches / Rolex or whatever I'm looking for, right? Well, Shopify, it does this, you know, seamlessly, right? You can use free themes, and a theme just is a word that describes what your store looks like and how it's laid out. But the thing is, people who are shopping for products, they're not there to be inspired. They're not there to see beauty and art. What they want to do is they want to see, do you have what I'm looking for? How much does it cost? You know, and let me get it. You know, it's pretty much what they want.
And also, pardon my French, are you going to F and deliver?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But you know, the nice thing is, you know, man, to some of these themes that they have, and this is definitely one of the biggest differentiating factors in my opinion. There's free themes on Shopify, and then there's themes that you buy. Okay. The free themes are great. Most of the time when there's free or bought, the free ones suck. And that's just a fact, right? Because they want you to buy them. I mean, I get that, right? I'm a marketer. I get that. But the free themes on Shopify don't suck. They're actually pretty good, right? So I think probably 75% or more of the people watching this would be great with a free theme. Here's the thing to remember, very important. You can start your store with a free theme, and then you can upgrade to a paid one at any time. There's not like I have to go through and redo everything like there would be with WordPress. If I choose a theme on WordPress and I build out a site right in the store, and I want to change to another theme, it's not just it's not just like simply, oh, look, I have this new design. No.
For months and months and months, you're discovering all the things that you didn't realize, and then you're stuck in between, and now you can't even go back. It's rough. So
Shopify, but with Shopify, you literally can. And the nice thing about it is, you know, there's all these things that you want intuitively as far as the user experience. And these themes that they have chosen, they weren't chosen haphazardly. They were chosen very intentionally. So right out the door, just by being on the platform, you already have you know, a very good advantage on a lot of things you wouldn't if you used other platforms. Again, user experience, navigation, and then of course, you know, one of the biggest reasons why people would choose, you know, a hosted solution like Shopify is that all of the payment processing is handled, right? That's a huge thing. You know, my stores that are not Shopify, I have to have a merchant account. Okay. I use authorize.net. I think it's the biggest or the second biggest in the world, but I can't just use them. I have to have a payment company in the middle. So I have another company called Global Payment Solutions, right? But I have all these different layers that I have to go through to be able to accept payments and do these things that, again, take hours and hours and hours to set up. I got to remember to pay for it. I got to remember to update my password however. It's just all this pain in the ass stuff that I don't need. Shopify, I don't handle anything. The shopping cart's there. The terms have already been negotiated, right? It's just one less thing that I have to mess with. And, you know, and I'll tell you, you know, as a marketer, I don't want to mess with all the little moving parts. You know, I just want to get traffic to my store and make some money. That's what I want to do. And Shopify right now, and I think for a long time is going to be the easiest way to do that. I mean, people are blown away. I've shown people, I have the local masterminds that I go to personally. And I did it one time. I showed them because they didn't, well, it's not that they didn't believe me, but I really just wanted to impress upon them how easy it was. And we set up a Shopify store. I did it live in the thing, and it took me like 45 minutes. And this person actually had some products that they, it was women's clothing is what she sold. Women like nice women, like suits, business suits, women's business suits. And we set it up live. And I'm telling you, the people in the room were just like, so I can go there now and buy it. I'm like, go open up your browser. Go look, add it to cart, buy one, I mean, I don't know. I guess, some people may not be as amazed by that. To me, because I know the other way, I guess. I know how hard it was doing it the other way. I guess that's why for me, it's just like, it's amazing to me just the same way as I have this little device over here that allows me to talk to anyone in the world, like in real time, that I can hold in my hand. To me, it's, it's just amazing. It's amazing.
So let me break some things down and listen, for those of you that are out there who are already sold on Shopify, great, but you're learning more why, okay? And we still have our silver bullet lesson to come. Actually, in essence, 2 of them, but one that we've built. But let me delve into what Stephen just said, because it's very, very powerful, okay? If you've ever read Good to Great, and I harp on this with e-commerce, and there's a reason why, especially with e-commerce. If you've read Good to Great, which is one of the seminal books still to this day, the chapter on Koch Industries, K-O-C-H Industries, at the time the second largest privately held business in the world. Now the largest, my understanding, the largest privately held business in the world. Koch Industries is based on sort of 2 fundamentals. One of them is from Maslow, the hierarchy of need, guys. I'm not going to go into that one right now. It has to do with value, but the trading value. But the other principle, it comes from this book called Why Wages Rise. I believe the author's economist named F.A. Hayek, but you can just type in Why Wages Rise on Amazon. I paid over $100 for my copy once it was, I think I kind of like repopularized it because you can kind of find them a little bit easier. But in Why Wages Rise, he targets the question of productivity. It started with him researching why, does union membership drive up wages? Because of course that's the premise of union membership, that it would raise the overall take of the union member, and it turned out to be uncorrelated based on the studies he showed. So when he went looking for the answer, when this economist went looking for the answer, what really does make wages rise predictably? The answer is productivity. Okay, the more productive the worker, the more he gets paid. Well, okay, great, but what leads to, begs the question, then what leads to productivity? Well, the answer is tools and systems, right? Tools and systems, depending on how you look at it. So, the classic example would be the farm economy. It begins with, let's say you go to the part of the farm economy where people are running around with machetes and chopping, that's how they're harvesting wheat. Well, then Cyrus McCormick comes along with the reaper, which is basically, a bit of an automated machete. Okay, nothing like today's tractors or so forth, but certainly or harvesters or whatever. But far better than just a machete. And what happens is the guy who operates the reaper, the guy who has the specialized information and technique and caring to take care of this now expensive piece of equipment, he's going to get paid much more than a guy wandering around with machete and cutting, and so forth. So, and of course this expands. We see this all around us, but don't lose focus on this. That's what Stephen's telling you. You want your job to be, free traffic. This is why free traffic and Shopify is just so explosive, Stephen, because the tools are laid out there to where they're really onboarding you. And the other thing is this, I'm going to give you guys a distinction now. I have a lot of specified information about Shopify. I have been shouting from the rooftops about Shopify since 2015, when this big run that they went on was starting. How did I catch a trend? Well, I'll tell you, I did listen to Devin Zander on it, but and I got a shout out to him. For me that was seminal. But I saw it, as he saw it. It's an issue of management, Stephen. There are some companies like PayPal that are looking to, unfortunately, kind of bootstrap, or not bootstrap, but crush, in my opinion, and in my personal experience, a lot of businesses where the management is very, very unfriendly, or There are businesses that are a little bit fickle, right? All the big pay-per-click search engines, they love you and then they hate you, right? Oh, please come to us, says, Overture and Google, Google pay-per-clicks, back in the day, it was almost like SEO to advertise on pay-per-clicks. But then you get the slaps, and the slaps regulations go up. It gets harder and harder. And next thing you know, people get crowded out. And these days, you really don't hear about a lot of people making money with Google pay-per-clicks because it's this fickle kind of thing, right? Same thing, with Facebook advertising, it's a bubble. The management of Shopify is such that, and I know this from experience. At this point, I have both made tons of money with my own Shopify stores, but I've also been intrinsic in the whole marketplace at this point, to the tune of millions and millions of dollars, and helping people get onboarded and helping people have success. So I have an enormous amount of information about this. And I've seen Shopify join forces with people that we're working with, like Adrian, or someone like Fred Lamb, or whatever. They're really reaching out to people, and their outreach is there. Instead of having this kind of warring thing with their customers, they're really empowering them and encouraging them. And that's a tool in your favor as well. And I know that was kind of an extended rant, Stephen, but I wanted to clear the decks for people to focus on the opportunity of what happens when you don't have to pay for traffic with your store, and you have so much experience with this, from your past, and even in cases, the crazy thing is you have taken stores that had tons of costs to start with, and that were much more difficult to deal with in Shopify, and still ranked them and made money with them. What's the difference, in having to do all? What is the difference that free traffic makes? Why is it such an edge that you have to have? That you yourself, by your actions, would never live without, Stephen?
Well, the simple answer, Mike, and we've talked about this before, pay-per-click or paid traffic versus, free traffic, or, Google traffic, like we talk about. And I don't have any numbers in front of me, but I'm going to give you some estimates that are, these are industry standard knowledge, right? This isn't Stephen Floyd talking. This is the industry talking. If you take an average keyword, and let's say that there's 1,000 searches for it a month. I'm just doing this for easy math. If there's 1,000 searches per month for a particular keyword, then if you're talking about Google pay-per-click specifically, on average, about 15%, max 20% of all the traffic that's going to that will be given to the paid traffic. Okay, so that means that if there's 1,000 searches and you're doing paid traffic, you're doing Google pay-per-click, you're going to get anywhere between 150 and 200 of those leads. Now, that's split across everyone that's doing pay-per-click. So if there's 8 people doing pay-per-click or 10 people doing pay-per-click, you're all splitting that 150 to 200 pie. However, the person who's number one Google ranking for that is going to get about 400.
Wow.
All to themselves. So when you look at scalability, people have this big confusion, and they think, okay, paid traffic is all about, who can spend the most. Here's the problem. If you take that same exact keyword that I'm talking about, it doesn't matter if you spend $1,000 a day or $1 billion a day. There's only so much that's going to come, right? There's only so many clicks. So people think, oh, well, if I spend, if everybody else is paying $20 a click and I pay $100, then somehow I get more. No. You will get a bigger piece of that very small pie, right? You will, and it probably won't be worth it ROI-wise, right? To pay, 4 times as much as everybody else. But that's the thing that people need to understand. The key
because
problem.
You are paying 4 times as much. That's the thing.
Yeah.
This is about loss. This is about loss. That's the whole basis of Cotton's brilliance. It's based on lost opportunity, and this is crazy. And Stephen, it's even more. It's even much more than 4 to 1, though. It's even much more than 4 to 1 because, or many times 4 to 1 because that guy's getting 400 and everyone else is fighting over the 100. But even more than that, what's the difference between warm recommended Google or just like real world recommended traffic? What's the difference between recommended traffic and obvious advertising traffic?
Well, yeah, there's a big difference between that. People know, and there's, to a certain degree, you can have a banner blindness, as it's called, is part of this. And so, you're definitely going to have a much better opportunity to get someone that is further along in the sales funnel closer to being a buyer, with organic traffic, and I'll tell you too, one of the things that people forget about, when you do pay-per-click, right, it turns on and off, and the value turns on and off, right? If you spend $1,000, once that $1,000 gone, guess what pay-per-click's doing for you from then on? Nothing. That $1,000, I hope it made an ROI for you, because it's not doing anything for you after that. When you do Google SEO, what happens is you're building out a site that has authority and has power, and what you're putting into it is going to be there forever. It's just getting stronger and stronger and stronger and more badass every time you're doing stuff to it. So pay-per-click, you turn it on, turn it off. That's great, but with this, you're building what's the word I'm looking for? You're building something of value. You're building, basically digital property, right? You're an asset. You're building an asset. And like I said, I'll tell you right now and there's different formulas. Okay. So guys, if you're watching this and you like a different formula, don't yell at me or anything, but a very kind of a standard formula for selling an e-com store is going to be 24 months of revenue. Okay. As far as, a buying price. Okay. So if you got a store that's making $10,000 a month, okay, just as an example, okay, that means 2 years of revenue is going to be 240 grand. That means that anytime that you want that money to like move over to another place or to invest somewhere else, or maybe you're just bored. Honestly, I know a lot of people that flip sites a lot, and a lot of times that's what they do. They get to a certain point and they're like, I'm kind of over this, because a lot of e-commerce sites are, let's be honest, guys, making money is not boring at all. It's sexy as hell, but selling like, women's pajamas or something, or, the actual product, you may get tired of that. Right. So that's one reason why people flip a lot, but again, if you take two people, you take one person that built up their site with paid traffic, and you take another person that built up their site with SEO, it's possible that the paid traffic site is going to have, some of the same value possibly, but the SEO site, the Google SEO site, absolutely is going to have that value, right? Because you can prove, with your traffic, you can prove with, all your logs and things. So again, it's not just about making money now with it. You have an asset that, you can use however you want. Do you want to keep it going forever? That's why I have 4 stores that have been up for a long time now. I have no need to sell them. I don't want to sell them. I like the money that they make me, and so do my partners. But if something happened and, I don't know, there was a tragedy or something, and for some reason we needed cash, boom, we've got an asset there. If we'd done it with paid traffic, it wouldn't be the same thing.
Stephen, I just this last year I sold a house in Franklin, Nashville, and I got a bit less than, say, $250,000, a few tens of thousands less, maybe 220, 225. But to make that sale, what I had to do was buy a house for about that much money, right? So the way I was able to sell my house for that much was I bought it for that much, right? And of course you could, buy a house for $100,000 and sell it for $200,000. I understand that. But what you did instead was you built something for hundreds of dollars of investment that started spitting off like 10 grand a month. And then you sell it for $250,000. Wow. So again, like it's not just the direct money that you can make from it. It's also a saleable asset. But let's get into a third distinction. We got 2 more things I want to close out strong here. I'd like to close this thing out fast and furious. And Stephen, this has just been absolutely incredible. 2 distinctions I want to get to. I almost think of this as 2 silver bullets. So I only promised 1. Stephen, it's not just that you've done, a dozen of your own stores. Let's call it that way. 11, a chintzy baker's dozen. Not just that you've done that, but there's a whole nother angle. It's not just making money with your own store. It's not, just being able to sell it and so on. But there's a whole world with client consulting, and you've exploited that. And there's a whole nother. This is where I get to not just 3 for 3 or 10 for 10, but it's 20 for 20, 30 for 30. It's vast. Tell us about client consulting.
Well, what happened, Mike, was actually I got into that by accident. I didn't intend to do it. So several years back, I think it was 2013, maybe 14. I can't remember. One of those years, Google went down pretty hard with some penalties. And, and what happened was it wiped a lot of people out. A lot of people left the internet marketing game, forever, right? Because of that. A lot of people lost, multi-million-dollar businesses, blah, 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 right? Well, what happened was some of the communities that I belong to online, I was kind of known as someone who had some success with helping people with that. I do Google penalties. Actually, that's a service that I actually offer, to help people get their sites back or their stores back. And so when all that started happening, these people just started referring people to me for that. Okay. So that was kind of the foot in the door, I guess, right? They said, hey, we think that our website has got, some type of Google penalty, will you look at it for us? And a lot of times they didn't have a Google penalty. In fact, most of the time they didn't have a Google penalty. There were other things that were going on. There were technical things with their website, servers and things like that. Or I won't go into all the different cases.
Things that in a lot of cases they may not wouldn't have had to put up with if they'd been on Shopify, by the way. But anyways, go.
Basically, yes. No, you make a valid point. You make a very valid point. So what I started doing those, and then, so of course, now I'm, an expert to these people, right? And so they started coming to me for pretty much everything, and anything from a consulting perspective. And I'll tell you, and this is just, I guess, part of my personality. I really enjoy that. I really enjoy that work. I enjoy, taking something that was working and then is, let's say it's broken, right? Temporarily broken, figuring out what broke and patching it back. But not just patching it back, because here's the thing. No one, when I give you this choice, if I told you, hey, so do you want it to get back to the traffic you had before this issue, or do you want more traffic? 0 times has anyone said, oh no, I'm good. Let's just get back to where we were. Okay. Every time the answer was, yeah, let's do better, right? If we could do better. So it would end up, number one, we would figure out what was causing the immediate problem, right? We got a hole in the ship and water's coming in, right? So we'd patch that hole. But then we would work on all these other elements. And these are the things that are inside of my e-commerce training inside of OMG. These are these things. I actually, and Mike, you know this, I actually have an entire section about auditing sites. Okay. And in there, I go over every single thing. If you follow this checklist, you can do exactly what I do without having my knowledge. You can go through and I show you what tools I use. I show you, everything. And I'll tell you, here's a real simple question to ask. So Mike, let me ask you this. Let's say that you had, an e-commerce store and you were doing 25, 30K a month on it. And then all of a sudden you went and you're doing like 2K a month. Okay. How much would you be willing to pay me to get that store back in, 2 or 3 weeks? Would you be willing to pay $100 for that? Would you be willing to pay $1,000 for that? Right? These checks.
You drive a hard bargain.
These checks, and I'll tell you, depending on the size of the store, it can take a little bit longer, but on average, I spend 3 to 5 hours, okay, to do one of these site audits. And it's very easy to get $5,000, $10,000 checks on these. I'm not trying to gouge people. I'm not trying to kick people when they're down. But I'll tell you too, even if I just do a little bit, and I always charge, I never do it for free because people don't value things you do for free. So, I'm always going to charge them something. But remember, again, this is a foot in the door. I've got a business that's doing, 6 or 7 figures a year. I know that once I prove to them my value and that I know what I'm doing by fixing this issue for them, I'm their best freaking friend then. And now I'm going to offer, of course, say, hey, here's what was going on. Here's how you resolve it, or here's how my team has resolved it. And so, now are you ready to take it to the next level? I see that you're doing this. Well, here's a whole bunch of keywords you never even looked at before. Guess what? Your competitors are, and they're making a ton of money off of it. Well, let's get started on you getting that money, right? Like you said, Cotton mentioned before, the fear of losing, is very, very, very powerful. So, whether you make money off of this just as a a la carte thing, right, that you do, or whether you do it, as a foot in the door to do other work, and I'll tell you the last thing that I really like, and of course, we always sign non-disclosures, with clients when we do work with them, like this, because, they're basically lifting their skirt, right? Like we like to say, they're showing you everything, their payment processing, all their hosting. I get a lot of good. Yeah. I mean, the thing is though, it's really good for me because often I learn stuff by doing the audits myself. Often I learn stuff. I look and I go, oh, that's pretty cool. I see what they're doing there. You know, they've got this going on or they've got that going on. And so not only
you're gaining your knowledge.
Yeah. Too. Yeah. So not only am I able to bring something to the table, and a lot of times, you know, you would laugh if you saw it, but you know, when you're really good at something, a lot of times you forget the basics. And you really forget that the basics are really kind of what got you there. So a lot of times the value that I'm bringing to these people in a consulting capacity is stuff that they knew. If I said, raise your hand if you knew you should be collecting emails, you know, from your clients, right? Raise your hand if you, all of them are going to say yes. Of course they do. But you'd be shocked at people that aren't doing it. Literally, people that have, you know, these thousands of customers and no list. You know, like from our perspective, of course, as internet marketers, of course, that makes our head explode, right? Sure. Yeah, you know, absolutely. And I'll tell you, that's another thing that's going to be inside of the OMG Ecom training is we're going to talk about multiple methods of monetization. We're not just going to, you know, it's great to have an e-commerce store and you sell a product and you make a profit, and that's great. But that's just one way to make money from your store. Yeah. You're investing into this asset. We're not just going to show you one way. We're going to show you multiple ways. And I'll tell you, it's going to shock you. It may shock you. Sometimes the method number 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 actually makes you more money than method number 1. You put up a store. Another
reveal here, multiple streams of income.
Yeah. You end up
hitting and hitting to not blow past the client consulting power, guys. So this is, I described it out of my wallet. Okay. So this is $1,000. If I drop this $1,000, right, you'd pick it up, right? I'm sorry, if I dropped it and just ran off and never to be seen again, right? You know, of course, you'd try to get it back to me if I dropped it and you saw it. But if I just dropped this on the street, right, and it was just gone, or somebody had dropped it, you'd pick it up, right? Well, what if it was $5,000? Would you pick it up then? Stephen, you're not talking about some hard whole thing where you even got to put together a whole agency. I mean, this is something where like people are like, you got the effing answer. Like, you know, proof is in the pudding. You've got your stores. Like these paychecks from clients are not like difficult.
No, actually, you know, and we're going to go into this more inside of OMG actually, but it's as simple as joining certain Facebook groups, joining certain LinkedIn groups, stuff like that. It's that simple as far as getting a start in this. You know, join some groups, make some contributions to the group. You know, I'm not going to go over the whole strategy or, you know, what specific groups, but it's super simple to start. It's really not hard. It's not like you said, you know, we always talk about our product is the best product that's out there because you don't have to have a store. You don't have to have employees. You don't have to have, you know, all these things, right? Just you and me, you know, sitting here in our house, you know, can, you know, make multi-million-dollar businesses, you know.
I will verify I am wearing pants today, but I don't have to. Stephen, we've built this up. We still have hundreds and hundreds, actually hundreds more on that started with us. Let's get to that silver bullet reveal that we've all been talking about. This is so exciting, Stephen. Open our eyes and take it away.
All right, let me grab the screen here real quick. All right, so let me see here. Can you see my keynote?
I see your keynote.
All right, perfect. All right, guys. So what I'm going to go through here, this is not a specific Shopify lesson. This is actually a general e-commerce lesson. So, and hopefully, you know, like I mentioned in the beginning, it's something it's very basic, but it's something that I think once you see my approach to it and kind of the thinking behind it, I think you're going to really, you know, have something you can take away and execute on. All right. So I wanted to show just a couple of things, guys. I know you're not here for me to brag or like prove to you that I know what I'm talking about, but I just wanted to show you a couple of things real quick. So I'm only going to demo one of my sites today, and I need to do a more recent one when I can. But if you look through here, there's a screenshot of the traffic and you see, you know, up in the many tens of thousands as far as traffic. This is, you know, one of, and again, I've blanked out some stuff because, you know, I can't show you everything, right? But if you'll see here, this is for a quarter, by the way. Okay, so this is 3 months. So you see here, you know, 23,000 from search engines, 6,000 from Facebook. I've got some other, you know, traffic sources. You see here, multiple traffic sources. That's what we're going to talk about. But this particular quarter did, you know, right at about 150,000. All right. So and I'll tell you that this store that I have, it's exactly, it's 100% markup. So meaning that our actual net profits are exactly half of this. Okay. So for easy math, this store made me $75,000 over a 3-month period, meaning it made about $25,000 a month. Right. And this is actually very common. If I showed you my other stores, this is a very similar number. All right. They're all kind of in a similar range within $10,000 a month-ish. New signups here. But anyway, like I said, I don't want to go into that too much. But so let me go through my story here really fast. So my first store that I had going up, I was getting a bunch of traffic, of course, from the SEO that I was doing. But the sales were not particularly great. So what I'm going to address today, the first part of it is going to be the number one issue behind traffic that you deal with an e-commerce store. Okay. So the number one issue with e-commerce stores is getting traffic. The number two issue is what we call cart abandonment. Okay. And cart abandonment simply means that you go to a store, you pick an item, you add it to cart, but you never check out. Okay. That is the absolute behind traffic, the number one issue that people at e-commerce stores deal with, and they hate it. And there's a million ways that you can try to address this issue, and a million people have wrote a million articles. But what I'm going to show you today is something a little bit different. So there's my attempt at being funny. That was where I was, right? So wasn't very happy. My SEO was working. I was getting a ton of traffic. But again, we had a lot of people adding to cart, but not a lot of people checking out. All right. So what I did is what I always do. I go to trusted friends and relationships. And one of the things, so I basically traded them some SEO kind of secrets for some of their kind of how do I get people to not abandon my cart secrets? And of course, there's me again after I started to do it. So what secret tip took me from almost no sales to the beginning of a successful business in only 6-ish weeks? And that is absolutely true. I implemented this and it took off super, super fast. So let me show you. And I'm going to switch to another screen here. All right, let me make this bad boy big. All right, so for me to show you this, I went to Namecheap. I'm going to use Namecheap just as an example. Namecheap is a place where you can register domains, right? And so I put in some ridiculous domain here just for an example. And sure enough, it's available. Because who wouldn't want www.rrr1233 blah, blah, blah.com, right? So let's say that you're the shopper, okay? And you have gone in, you found this domain that you want. And now let's add it to cart. All right. All right. So now it's in our cart. And now we're going to go ahead and view our cart. All right. And we got all these things on here. All right. So once we get to this point, here's kind of where the magic of what I'm going to show you is kind of revealed. All right. So we get here to this point. Now I'm showing you a domain registrar, but think pretty much any product. Okay. Think pretty much any product that you want. You get to this stage. All right. And the next step here is confirm order, right? But Mike, do you notice anything else on the screen? Do you notice anything else on the screen right there by the?
I do a little opportunity at some savings, Stephen.
Little bit of opportunity. So listen, who wouldn't like some savings, right? All right. So let me tell you something. So at this point, I've gone to a store, I've made a purchase, and at this point, I'm kind of in a neutral position psychologically. All right. I wanted to get a domain. I found one that I wanted, hopefully, and I'm ready to pay for it. And that's the fair market value right there. Okay. So I'm in, again, I'll call that a neutral stance. Let me tell you, and if this was a webinar where I could say, give me a 1 if you would do this, I guarantee you 70 or 80% of you would, because the market research has bared. What people are going to do next, Mike, is they're going to open another browser window and they are going to look for a Namecheap coupon. All right, now let's look here and see.
I want to buy that red iPhone that I just saw.
I know, me too.
Did you, guys, e-commerce, money is flying around all over the place.
All right. I know it's pretty crazy. All right, so I found a coupon here. I don't know if it's going to work, but let's see if it works. All right, let's go back to my shopping cart here. Let's try this one, and let's just see if it works here. An error. Oh, you have to log in to apply it. Okay, well, that's kind of interesting. All right, I'm not going to do that because it would take too much time. But let me tell you what will happen. All right, once you find a coupon code here, all right, and you see that you've saved, in this case, it's not a ton, right? Say it's, $5 or whatever. What happens here is that now you're in a different psychological state, right? Because you just got something, right? You just got a discount. You just made a savings. Okay. And again, if we were on a live webinar where you guys could respond back to me, I would ask who gets this, and 70 or 80% of you would say yes.
Yeah, and I'm sure people can understand this. Like, for example, I mean, the whole concept of Black Friday is the same concept.
Exactly.
The whole reason retailers operate their entire year is to pump up the value of their product and sit around losing money for months and months. For 11 months of the year, they sit around losing money to justify that when they do a 40% slash on, this T-shirt or, whatever it is that, the new designer glasses or like whatever the crap it is, then boom, your wallet comes out and bam. And this has been the basis of all retail sales for God knows how long.
Now, it's such a simple concept, right? But again, guys, I hope you get what I just showed you as far as how powerful this is. So for my sites, this one thing, look what it did. Quadrupled my checkout completions by just doing a coupon. That's all I did. Okay. But that's just one thing. So we've got multiple layers to this, Mike. So let me keep going here. And I think at the end, it's all going to tie together for you guys to understand. All right. So now we have a coupon code. So now on the conversion side, I've quadrupled, right? But guess what else? Boom. My traffic also went up massively. All right. And I'm going to explain how in just a minute. All right. So my traffic went up. Guess what else? I got backlinks. So you guys that know about search engine optimization, about search engine marketing, okay, that backlinks are one of the things that helps you, get ranked in Google. All right. But now let me get to it. How did I do it? All right. So let me give you the basic method. So again, I'm going to tell you, probably everyone that sells on e-commerce understands that coupons are good and you should use coupons. Okay. So that's not earth shattering or breaking news. But let me tell you this method that I came up with. And this is a variation. I told you earlier, I got some help from some people who were, peers / mentors, but I took it to another level, and let me show you how. So I went, and this is a Google advanced search operator. Okay. So all that means, it's a fancy way to say that when you use a command like all in URL, submit coupon, that it's going to come up with different results than if you just typed in plain old submit coupon. All right. So what I did was, let me show you this real quick. Oh, it's YouTube. Hold on one second. Let me get back to Google. All right. Here. What I'm doing now. Oh, it's a typo. Something about typos in live webinars. They just have to happen. All right. All right. So what you're going to find when you use this search operator, this isn't the only one, is you're going to find a ton of coupon sites. Okay. Because what this means is that the URL right here, this URL, this thing in green, has to have the word submit coupon in it, right? So right here, you've got truecouponing.com. You've got couponing4.net. You've got Retail Me Not, which is the big one, limelightdeals.com. Okay, so what I did was I went and I created coupons on these sites. All right. So when I create a coupon, and why did I do that? Well, the reason I did that is so when people are in my checkout, and they open a new browser window and look for a coupon, that they actually find something, right? I have to have a coupon for them to be able to use a coupon, right? So I go out to these sites and, you make a simple, it takes about 3 to 5 minutes to submit a coupon on each of these sites. Most of them are free. 99% of them are free. Okay. So going back to my slide here, what happens is, because I'm now on all these sites for people looking for coupons. Now, so this is reverse, right? They didn't go to Google looking for my product. They went to Google looking for coupons, right? For products. So think about that. Think about people who do couponing like at the grocery store, right? They do it opposite. They don't go and look for the product first. They look for what can I save money on first, right? So because I have coupons on all these sites, boom, that's where I'm getting my traffic, right? So I'm getting all of these coupon sites sending me referral traffic, which is awesome, right? But of course, also, they have links in them, right? They all have links. So what I'm getting is I'm getting like a triple punch, value here. So, I'm going to pick one of these randomly, and hopefully it's a good example. If not, I can go to Retail Me Not, because I know how that works. But you see all these coupons here. So I can submit, right, a coupon right here. All right. And there's the URL. Okay. I can submit it. That's as easy. And then once it's inside, let me see. So here's, they're doing they're doing what I'm going to teach here too. But once you find, so let me do online deals. All right. So all of these sites here, right, they all have links back to the company, and all these sites are searchable, right? So if I wanted to search for hosting, let's just say, right, for my website, just as an example, I'm about to buy some hosting, and I want to do that. If I came to this site, it looks like I wouldn't have a whole lot of luck. So this site probably sucks for that. All right, let me go to Retail Me Not. That is the biggest one. That's going to be better for the examples. No, I don't want to know the best deals. Thank you. All right, hold on one second. Retail. All right. So here, this is what more of them are going to typically going to look like, right? So here, very, very easy, very, very, if I type in, let's do Namecheap, right, where I was before. Boom, up 10% off, right? Here's all these things. So again, I've got my traffic, I've got my links, right? And I've got my coupon, which is going to help with my conversions. So just by simply going and setting up coupons on all these other sites, I've got all of these things that I wouldn't. And let me throw in one more thing that's actually really important. Really, really important that people probably, don't think about too often. But SEOs definitely ask this question. One of the most common questions that I get asked is, what is the first kind of links or traffic I should be sending to my website, right? As far as Google, like what looks good to Google? Well, one of the very first for an e-commerce store is coupon sites, right? How natural is that? How awesome is that, right? What do you, when Google looks at your site and it says, okay, this site, they sell products and they're getting a lot of referral traffic from coupon sites, man, that is just great for you. That is something that just gives you a lot of authority and trust right off of the bat, right? Because it's super, super natural, right? It's super, super natural. All right. So I showed you kind of one thing here. Here's another, you can literally just put submit coupon codes and you can find it. Mike, you want me to go on to the next kind of part? Because I
am hanging on the edge of my seat, actually.
All right.
Just so you guys know, if it looks like I'm stoic here, I've got 2.2 million things I figured out from what Stephen just said for conversion wise. I just want to give you a sense of things. You guys understand you can also submit multiple coupons on these sites. Did you guys pick up on that?
Oh, yeah.
And if let me just give you just quick brain bomb for you here. Where's McDonald's making all of its money, right? On what? Supersizing, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Supersizing is a coupon funnel.
That's
like
right.
What you're doing is you're setting up kind of multiple coupons, but you're like, this is the best coupon though. Like what I mean is the specific one is the best deal, is the value meal. That's the supersize. And it's just the math is so wildly quote unquote better because you get so much more Coke, so much more fries, whatever, for such a little amount more money that they're making it seem like you're almost like a fool if you don't take that offer. There's a kind of a classic Wall Street Journal, one of these that you can look up for, do you want the online, do you want the offline, and they kind of route you to it with the pricing.
Absolutely.
But my point is there's all kinds of manipulation that you can do with this that's so in your favor. And even doing that stuff like that just makes you look more intentional, which is one of the keys to winning with e-commerce. That's
right. So again, remember what I said before about, surviving Google updates and that kind of thing. Having these kind of coupon links go into your site in the beginning is just a very good thing. Mike, along the same lines, when I was in high school, I worked at a movie theater for all 4 years. And I found out that
must have been a lot of cute girls working there, huh?
There were a lot of cute girls working there, actually.
Surprise. Stephen always did. All right, go ahead, Stephen.
But I'll tell you, one of the things that I learned that's very interesting, and I think in not common knowledge, is that when a new movie comes to a movie theater, the movie theaters will actually, there is a negotiation that occurs. So let me give you an example. So let's say that the new Star Wars movie is coming out, okay? Then that movie, everyone and their dog is going to go see it. So that means the movie theater is going to give 100% of the ticket price to the company that produced it, okay? They're going to say, I have got to have Star Wars in my theater because a large Coke costs them about 15 cents, okay? And that's out the door. It's actually like 10 cents for the cup and 5 cents for the soda. Okay. And the popcorn. So they make all of their money off of the concessions, right? That's why the concessions cost so much. But there's a negotiation there too. So let's say I have an indie movie, right? And nobody's ever heard of it, but maybe it's got, 1 star in it or something. Then it may flip the other way. It may say, okay, you know what? We're going to keep 80% of the ticket sales. We're only going to give you 20%. So, but it's all about that negotiation, like you said, to get people in the door. Right? Get people in the door. It's the same reason why Walmart has all their, cheap products, because they know you're not just going to come into Walmart and buy one, thing. But let me get to the next part. Okay. So where I left you at is you are in Google and you are going to go sign up for a bunch of coupon sites. But here, let me show you kind of how we take it to the next level. Now, again, if I were to ask who knows what this is on this webinar, I'm going to guess at least 99.9%.
Actually, not a webinar. Just so you guys know, this is a.
Oh, sorry.
This is our wonderful harnessing free traffic with Shopify for e-commerce, and this is a live on-air interview. It's the first of its kind that we've done, and it's really extraordinary stuff. I love it how this is bringing things to life, Stephen.
Thank you. All right, so here we go. Mike, can you see the screen?
I can.
55 coupon sites. Now, listen, you got to make an investment though, Mike. You got to be willing to invest. You got to be willing to invest in your business.
Right, sure.
Now, what you mentioned before is absolutely.
Is there financing on Fiverr?
Right. So see if I can get a pay later option. Yeah. So for a crisp $5 bill,
right?
This is
for a $5.
This is just one place. This isn't the only place. You can get 55 coupon sites submitted. All right, now listen, I want to tell you one more thing. Mike, what you said before is absolutely correct. We don't do just one coupon, right? We're going to do massive coupons. We're going to have multiple coupons for every product. We're going to have, coupons for product bundles. So there's a whole lot more to this. But I'm telling you, if you have a store that's up right now, okay, and you don't have coupons out, I just showed you a way to remedy this situation for $5. Okay, and $5 in, you can go ahead and start getting these these links, and helping with your conversions, right?
We should find a gig. Let's jump over to. Can you jump over maybe to Conquer and see if there's a gig in there?
Yeah, I don't know if there is. Let me look though. Let me look and see. And there's certainly.
You guys know, I mean, there's some, just some really great. This is my personal favorite marketplace is Conquer.
Yeah, I like Conquer too. Let me look and just see real quick. I'm not sure they're really FCO focused. So let's see, lots of coupon vouchers. Yeah, I don't think they have any on this one, but that doesn't mean.
I predict that we see a Conquer gig soon. I predict.
Yeah, there should be. Prediction. Yeah, the reason why there's not, Mike, is because this is not a method that many people know about.
Yeah,
this is the first time.
No, it's a good sign. I'm just kind of
yeah.
Sending out a dog. I'm just sending out a dog whistle for somebody who's paying attention.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right. And so let me go here real quick. All right. So let me finish this off, Mike. I've got one more thing that I want to make sure that everybody knows as far as this lesson goes. Okay. So where we've started off with, let me go back to the keynote here. So where we've started off with is, I hope that you guys understand the value of doing, I'm going to go ahead and call it coupon marketing. Okay. Because that's a thing. I hope you understand the value of it. I hope you understand how much it's going to impact your cart abandonment in a positive way, how it's going to get you these backlinks, which are great, and how it's going to get you traffic, which is great, and how easy you can do it with a gig like this one on Fiverr. You can also hire, VAs on places like Upwork or, any of those sites, right, to go in and for just a couple of dollars an hour, go out and just do these massive campaigns, right? But there's one thing that I left off. There's one last thing that's actually going to be massive, okay? And here it is. Now, that is not a great graphic. All right, but let me tell you why you're looking at that. And that is a scraper. Okay, so I told you to go out and create coupon codes so people could find them and they could get you traffic and links and increase your sales, right? But one thing I want you to understand is these coupon sites, okay, the main way that these sites find coupons, the main way is by scraping websites. Okay. So what I mean is, Retail Me Not, for example, and these other huge coupon sites, the way that they get most of their coupons is not because people submit it. It's because they have these crawlers that go out and they will scrape them off of your website. Okay. So the last part of this that's super, super powerful, don't forget this last part. Okay. This part is equally as important as the first part. You need to have a coupon page on your site. Okay. And that coupon page is going to be, or coupon pages, right? You could have multiple. They are going to be updated frequently. Okay. So what happens is, without you going to, besthostingcoupons.com and submitting, they're going to go and scrape and find you and put up your coupons. So you're not only going to have the ones that you do yourself, all right, but you're going to have all the ones that from all the people who are scraping you, right? So with this method, if you employ the two tactics that I just showed you, you should be able to exponentially increase your conversions, your traffic, and again, don't forget the importance of the backlinks as far as from a search marketing perspective. And that is the end of the lesson.
All right. Boy, it's this is an exciting time to be alive, guys. It's an exciting time to be alive. I know I'm getting messages from people who I know and people that are freaking out that light bulbs are going off and so forth. Again, this isn't a webinar. This is a live on air interview, OMG style, and the crowd goes wild. That was absolutely incredible from Mr. Duplicatable, and that's what it looks like when we do things the OMG way. And what I want to do is I want to turn up the heat a little bit here because there is just so much excitement. We have literally still hundreds more. We haven't actually lost numbers, guys, just so you know. Somehow, and Stephen brought so much to the table today. We're just overflowing with what we've got here. Not to be cliche, but let's be real. Like, this is happening outside of the OMG paywall at this point. This is an event that is available outside of our incredible password protection system, and outside of our city on a hill, the insider kind of part of the city on the hill, the kind of inner sanctum. You get this kind of thing, you got to wonder what's going on inside of OMG. And this year, we have a lot of earnings reports from e-commerce, even to the millions of dollars, to where people have come in and had success with it. But there were always, barriers before Shopify, and then there were barriers before Stephen. And with Stephen, you're getting Mr. Duplicatable. And this year is the year of free traffic on Shopify. at least if you're inside of OMG. Now OMG, it's an extraordinary thing. People ask me what it's about. And what I'm going to do now, for those of you who are really looking to change your stars, who are really looking to put the power of this, and does this integrate with what Adrian's doing, what Fred's doing, what Abe's doing? Yeah, that's the whole point. What Ricky's doing, what Ross is doing, like the guys that you may know if you're hip to and if you don't know those names, don't worry about it. That's fine. If you're starting from scratch, that's perfectly fine. That's the whole point. Any way that you look, this is such an earth-shattering breakthrough. And yet it's coming from the most humble guy in the world, Stephen Floyd, Mr. Duplicatable, which I think is just, I don't know, for me, I just think that's extra exciting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you inside, because a lot of people, because of the buzz of this event today, a lot of people are coming to us fresh and brand new. So I'm going to take you inside of what OMG is and what it's all about. So let me start a screen share. Stephen, are you seeing the echoing window thing situation there?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's have a look here. So we've got Project No Holds Barred NHB 2017. That's what's in play here. And that is what is carrying this incredible e-commerce Shopify revolution to the absolute next level. And I'm telling you, I know how this thing goes in Shopify. I've been on the Shopify wave since near the inception of when really the tide turned. I caught this trend, and I was richly rewarded. This is the new trend. Tai Lopez says, gotta catch a trend. Okay. Well, that was a little bit of a hint, because Tai knew what's to come. Right. What I mean is, a few weeks ago, or actually several days ago, Tai Lopez went off. It's like, if you go to his Facebook wall, it's pinned there. Anyway, never mind that. Mark Ling has been telling about, he's been reaching out to people, shouting from the rooftops. This is the time. This is the place. It's time to win with Shopify, right? You get a guy 10 out of 10, 20 out of 20, 100 out of 100. And that's what Project No Holds Barred NHB 2017 is all about. It's about getting you in the room with individuals like Stephen, and there's very few of them, individuals like Stephen, who are not just incredibly successful, but incredibly duplicatable. And it's throughout all of our coaches that they're duplicatable, but that's kind of Stephen's real wheelhouse, is duplicability. And then just caring, that really runs deep. It's a vein that runs deep. And that's what Project No Holds Barred is all about. That and secrets, lots and lots of secrets. So this is what we're talking about. It's one of the most recommended courses in internet marketing history. And I think it's because over the last 5 years, we've created over 1,000 5-figure a month earners. And you can see that on the Powered by OMG Instagram channel. But what a lot of people don't know is that over 75% of members, that when they joined OMG, even though we've got this 1,000 earnings reports or more, just in staggering numbers, most people started as beginners. Well, how do we accomplish that? How do we get earnings report after earnings report after earnings report to where Bob Proctor and Tai Lopez and Cody Sperber and Jason Stone, Mark Ling, Ricky Mateka, Adrian Morse, like the people are shouting from the rooftops. Luke McGuire shouting from the rooftops about this. Why? Well, OMG is built around teaching you how to master free internet traffic. And this traffic can be used to complement affiliate marketing, email marketing, or business. And of course, what our main focus has been on here is e-commerce. We've got all kinds of accolades, and our coaches have been highlighted all over the place. You can see Forbes, Inc., Huffington Post. But really what you're talking about is an education that's, for doctors, you're talking 10 plus years in school, $200,000, $300,000 in debt to be making whatever it is, $150,000, $200,000, maybe $300,000 on the average, when we have so many OMGers making so much more for so little. What you get with OMG, what you're peeling behind the the curtain when you're inside, when you've got the ladder and you're running off with it, you're going to get an immediate advantage. The second you join, you get to log into your members area, which has this incredible vault of exact detailed step-by-step training secrets from these individuals, from Stephen, who's successful, duplicatable, and caring. Nothing left out, A to Z. That's how we have so much success. That's the immediate advantage. And yes, Stephen's e-commerce is live. This SEO free traffic based e-commerce is live right now in NHB 2017. This is the Shopify shockwave. And it doesn't stop there, because you're going to get an ongoing advantage. You're in there with Stephen and our other coaches, and I'll get more. OMG is much more than free traffic on Shopify. You'll find out about that. But I really want you to feel the value, feel the power of Shopify free traffic and the ongoing advantage, because OMG is also about navigation. Now, I told you that our coaches are successful, that they're duplicatable, and they're also caring. Well, the caring factor, it boils down to, is that person going to help you navigate those twists and turns, have the patience to bring you along? Well, Mr. Duplicatable sure as heck is, and so are all of our incredible player coaches and icons that are involved in OMG. Because inside of OMG, we have weekly webinars, with at least 2, 3, often 4 times per week that you can get on live. And this is not outsourced. We don't have outsourcers that we've hired. All of our coaches are incredibly successful, to where they've made even upwards of 6 figures in a month, and have made just incredible amount of money on this incredible free traffic based system that they're all collaborating on and working from in so many different directions. And any given one of them is just
Hey guys, it looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. So just hold on for just 1 minute, and we'll see if we can get this going back again. Thanks. All right, looks like Mike is coming back on. Thanks for your patience, guys. Just give us 1 minute.
Hey, Stephen, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're back.
All right.
We lost you for a minute.
So can you give me a sense of where I was when you lost me?
If you can pull up the slides, I can. You were talking about office hours.
All right, let's take a look. Oh, I was talking about the great. So let's go back to screen share, and Stephen, just let me know when you can see that.
All right, let's see. Got a blank screen, and now I see my little face talking.
Perfect. All right,
there you are.
So here we go. Let's get back to the, oops. Oh yeah, boy, I didn't, by the way, I mean, just when you talk about success, this is a crazy thing. This is OMG Live. Actually, Steven's over in the corner. You can't quite see him, but just overwhelming success. These are all people that paid for their tickets to OMG Live. You remember this fateful moment, right, Steven? Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was awesome. It's crazy how many people, were able to get there on their profits. It's really awesome. Really good energy in the room.
Let me show you a little bit of an update on this. This is at a mastermind that I had just for some local OMGers, just a few dozen local OMGers. This is Anthony Morrison, Adrian Morrison's brother. And I'm not going to walk you through the whole clip, but he walks in, says he's going to interrupt us. That's what he's saying. He's pointing to my mastermind. He talks to everybody, and I'm going to turn it live from here so you can hear what Anthony has to say.
Hey guys, one quick thing. We have to leave, but so I told you we were interrupting him. So I'm filming this for yes, we're getting very professional here. I'm filming this for my students, and some of them are thinking about somebody's here. It's one of my students. So a lot of them are thinking about OMG. So just a couple quick questions. How many of you love OMG? Raise your hand if you do. Okay, see this? This is very impromptu, by the way. I don't even know if this thing's working. And what about making money? How many of you are actually making money with OMG now? Raise your hand. Yes? No, wait. Mike is taking over my impromptu-ness. Okay. There's $100,000. See that? Very cool. So if you would recommend OMG, just yell yes real fast for me. Yes. There you have it.
Let me put my headphones back in. 1 second. Stephen, were you able to
see that all?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you feel when you see a packed room like that? And I ask, how many people have made at least $100,000? And like 75% of the room raises their hands.
It makes me feel great, Mike. And, also the great thing about that is I recognize, I think 100% of the faces. Our community is so small, that it feels really great not to just see just people, being successful and taking action and kind of, getting what they want, kind of living the life that they want to live, but also people that I know, a lot of those people I've met in person, and a lot of those people I just, that's who you see on the webinars, Mike. The people who take action, those are the people asking the questions and the people just, really digging in, the only way not to win at this process is to not take action, so it's just great. I love to see people who work hard, be successful. It's the best thing ever.
It is. It's an incredible feeling. Leslie was one of the people at that event, and I pulled this up because she's even hit 100K in a single in a single month, and it's so extraordinary. And there's so many angles with OMG. It's not just Shopify SEO by a long shot. In fact, really, probably what we're best known for is Cotton Grammar SEO client consulting. Where we get just an incredible number of earnings reports, and over the top, Leslie here is in the tens of thousands of dollars per month range. But the point is that when you control traffic, you control money. So if you want to do e-commerce, that's fine. You're a winner. If you want to do SEO client consulting, well, you're a winner. If you want to do affiliate marketing like I do, well, guess what? You're a winner. There's so many different ways. If you want to power your business, I just got back from Scottsdale. If you go to the Instagram.com/powered-by-OMG, one of the recent posts that you'll see is from Dave. And Dave was a window washer when he joined OMG. And he feels like his business was maybe worth a few tens of thousands of dollars, maybe $50,000 when he joined us. Well, he just sold it. He just sold it 2 days ago, just the window washing part of the business, not the website, for $1 million. For $1 million, and he still owns the website. Now he has clients, and it's an extraordinary thing. There's so much success. There's money flying around all over the place. Okay, so I'm getting a little bit more in detail. We talked about the weekly webinars. We talked about the success. Let me walk you through a week in OMG. Sunday is with Fletch, who just set everything up incredibly in Phoenix. He's one of the first OMGers, one of the early OMGers who came through the program, came in as a building contractor, as a construction guy, who just completely flipped the script and changed his life. Every Sunday, he's in there answering really the details, the nitty gritty. One of the most popular people inside of OMG. This is a Sunday staple. Every question answered. Mondays is with Greg Morrison, and Greg Morrison was the original pillar of OMG, OMG's first player coach, and the world master at SEO and affiliate marketing. You get that every week, and you can get your questions answered on high-end SEO, so incredibly powerful. And speaking of e-commerce, Tuesday, well, here's the multiplier. You know, if you're going to be in Shopify, why not be on Amazon? And again, yes, free traffic from Google works on Amazon as well. That's where you're in with Hurricane Liz, who's made as much as $1 million in a single month. And she's the one coaching you up on Amazon. There's so many different ways to go. But the crazy thing is the way it works out, you're really only paying in essence for like one of the routes, the way that we've kept things lean and mean. So many people have so many incredible things to say about our members area, about what we bring people inside of, how our over-the-shoulder training from $100,000 per month entrepreneurs will teach you a mastery of client consulting, search engines, affiliate marketing, lead gen, Amazon, and of course, e-commerce. And well, there's Alchemy, the kind of the success management, the breakthrough, because it's one thing to have the training. It's one thing to have even the support in the community that's all around you and surrounds you and lifts you up. You still want to know what the right move to make is, the right strategy, the right mindset. And that's what David Mills' Alchemy is all about. David Mills is the CEO of OMG. There's an incredible 40-minute video interview that's on this page with me and David. I flew all the way out to Nashville for you to meet him and see how it is that he can change your life. Our Facebook groups are legendary. People have so much success inside of them. They're so tight-knit, so powerful, so many secrets flying around the place. Is OMG worth $100,000? You saw all those people raise their hands that they'd made $100,000. These are people that have shouted from the rooftops, members of OMG, saying that OMG is worth at least $100,000. And there's many, many more. Is OMG the best decision that people have ever made? The best decision. It's quite a statement. Yeah, I've heard that hundreds of times. Okay. Is there a catch? Yes. Number one, OMG does not include telephone coaching. It's not scalable. It's not possible. And in our opinion, it's not even the best way for you to have success. If you need telephone coaching, this isn't the right place. We do create an environment where every question can get answered. And we have incredible success, but we just don't include phone coaching. Number two, OMG is for the serious-minded person who wants a massive advantage, not for the person who wants it all done for them. You're going to need to think and act like an entrepreneur, not an employee. Okay. And number three, we do not offer refunds. This is a straightforward thing. At this point, and actually from the very beginning, there's not a way for us to put you in the room with a Stephen Floyd with 1 foot in and 1 foot out. It's just not possible. It's a waste of his time. And we want you standing shoulder to shoulder, locking elbows with incredible individuals that are all like-minded and all in the same direction. And you will learn to appreciate that you've burned the bridges, and it's a real thing. So when you join OMG, no refunds. And if you take a payment plan, we really expect you to complete it. Okay, if some life emergency comes up and your world comes crumbling down, yes, you can write to me and I'm not going to chase you down, but do come in with the full intention of making all those payments. That's the agreement between you and us. OMG Machines is a full year training and coaching mastermind with just Greg Morrison or Jess Cotton or Liz or Steven, who you met today, Joe, Fletch. It would be a steal at $20,000 for any given one of those people. It would be an absolute steal. But instead, it's just nowhere near that. It's a fraction of the money. There's a start button below this if you want to go to our sales letter. OMG, instead of costing $100,000 or $20,000 just for one of our coaches, it's really incredible. I mean, what is it, like $20 a day? Okay, it's somewhere in that ballpark, 20, 25 bucks a day. If you can handle that, then you can handle OMG and really change your stars, really change your life. This is the most exceptional program that's ever existed that I know of, that I'm aware of. It's been a really massive part of my life and of changing my life. I'm not the CEO of OMG. David Mills is. What I can do is I can tell you, I can report that David Mills will not let you down. He has helped so many people as a CEO of this business. He has an ironclad sense of will about having a true North mentality. And I think that is what's dragged us forward so many times. David doesn't let people down. You can learn more about him again on, if you want to know who the CEO of this business is, you found out about our incredible product offering, OMG NHB 2017. Now, there is one more catch, because on Thursday, March 30th at midnight, NHB 2017 proudly wraps up, and we're going to be closing registration so we can gather together our new members lovingly, get them together and get them on track to change their stars. We may be back for NHB 2018, as I said before, but that'll be the curtain call on it. And that's exciting, because right under the gun, we were able to bring you this incredible Shopify free traffic revolution. It's an overwhelmingly valuable situation. And, I can tell you this, if you have even a fraction of the success of one of 1,000 people inside of OMG, you're going to be very, very glad that you joined us. And probably your number one complaint is going to be that you didn't join NHB 2016 or one of the earlier iterations. You're going to just wish that you'd met us earlier. So with that said, we really welcome you with an open heart. We're excited for you to jump inside of NHB 2017. We're going to be closing up those doors on Thursday at midnight. And what I want to do right now is turn things over to Stephen to get his final word, and then we're going to wrap things up.
Hey, thanks, Mike. So first of all, again, thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun. I always enjoy doing some teaching out there. Hope we added some value. I hope you guys are able to go out and execute on that information. A couple of things that I wanted to just point out. Number one, we are a beginner-friendly training community, okay? So I don't want you to think that if you're watching some of this and maybe some of the training went over your head or whatever, that you can't be successful at that. We are an absolute beginner-friendly community, okay? And also want to point out the word community here. When someone refers to OMG as a course, it actually kind of irritates me a little bit, because we're way more than a course. Mike mentioned the Facebook group. Our Facebook group has thousands of people in it, and they're all people who are trying to succeed doing exactly what you're doing. And there are people there who will help you with pretty much anything that you need. Okay, so you're not alone. You're going to be in a community of like-minded individuals at different levels. You're going to be in that community with people who are multimillionaires. You're going to be in there with people who are in impoverished third world countries. And guess what? All of them have the same unfair advantage. If you are able to get into our community and you're able to take action, you will succeed. And Mike, my final thing I just want to say, I want you to imagine that you want to play baseball. All right. Basketball. Imagine that you want to play basketball. Imagine if Michael Jordan was your coach. Okay. Imagine if the Michael Jordan was your coach. I want to tell you that, I'm the least impressive member coach in OMG. You're going to have access to people like Cotton Grammer, who is not doing $100,000 a month, Mike. He's doing $1 million a month from SEO Client Consulting, which makes him the Michael Jordan of SEO. It just does. It's a fact. Hurricane Liz, you're going to be getting Amazon, not from just, you're talking about an absolute top of the food chain master, right? You're going to learn like Yoda is sitting there. And so I just wanted to point that out. Each one of the coaches, I could say the same thing for. Joe Marfolio's video ranking methods. If you do video marketing, top of the, you can't beat it. You just can't beat it. Fletch, same thing. Fletch has a way of breaking down the basics of all of SEO in a way that makes it where even someone who literally, if you don't know what SEO means, you have no idea. You can get on with Fletch, and pretty soon you're not just going to know it. You're going to know it at a super high level. And so, you showed Mike 7 or 8 ways to make money with free traffic on there. There's 100 different ways, guys. There's 100. We just synthesized it for you in that slide so you could see it. There's so many ways to harness this free traffic. And once you have it, great. Start with 1, start with 2, do 3. Everybody knows that multiple streams of revenue is where it's at, right? to be financially secure, multiple streams of revenue. There has never in history been a better vehicle than now to do it, and it's OMG SEO. So thanks again for having me on, Mike.
Appreciate it. This has been an incredible event. On behalf of myself, David Mills, Greg Morrison, Greg, our original SEO coach, absolutely incredible individual who you also have coaching with every week. On behalf of all the individuals that you just heard Stephen bring up, this has been an incredible event. OMG is a city on a hill. It's a place where friends come together in Providence. And just keep in mind, like, listen, there's so much money flying around all over the place out there. And to break things down, somebody who's on the fence, the way I see it, there's kind of three routes in things in life when you got a decision to make. You got something you got to get off your chest, and I think this financial thing, it's a puzzle that we've each got to solve in life. That's the way that life is set up. So either you go out there and you try to go it alone. If you do that, the predictable thing is you're going to get what you have now. And if you're good with that, then that's good, but you're probably not on this webinar, or it's not a webinar, this interview at this point, if that's the case. Now, the other thing that you can do is just go out there and really try to research and figure it out yourself and pick through the nooks and crannies. But again, then you're creating a double burden because you've both got to create the research in the first place. You got to be right about it. And then you got to go and do the applying. You got to do it on your own. So we don't want that at all. What we really want is the best route. The best route is to get inside of OMG, make that cash outlay for your future, because this is the time. This is the time. This is the destiny. OMG NHB 2017. We're getting set to wrap up with it on Thursday at midnight. We want to see you get in under the deadline. Enjoy this this incredible harnessing free traffic with Shopify e-commerce lesson that you got. Enjoy it. With Mr. Duplicatable, Stephen Floyd, this on-air interview that you got with Stephen. I think it's just absolutely incredible. And we cannot wait to see you inside of OMG NHB 2017. All right, we'll see you on the inside.